live chat, today's video, and which is coming to you from, as always, from my motorhome. And I hope that this is actually working. Yes, it is, because I see the questions that people ask me, and unfortunately, the only thing I've got up so far is the picture which started the avatar, which started the whole thing up. Anyway, not to worry, I shall start in any case. Now, I'd like to know what people think about doing live chats at this time, because this is obviously normally it's the time for when the videos themselves go up, which I do, and live chat this video. And sorry, it's coming up now. And so is this a good time to actually do it, or should I really just stick to the premieres and perhaps do the live chats the weekend when I remember at a different time when I actually can and when I can actually remember to do it? So I really need to know what other people think, and I can maybe make an appropriate decision based on people's feedback. Today I want to talk about RV business, another thing about business, and which is about becoming a dealer. I realize that this is not a business channel, it's a RV channel, and the fact that you may know about something about, and hello Jason, one may know something about RVs doesn't mean to say that you necessarily know other things. People often ask me the question, how would I get this in the United States? My answer is, I don't know. I am not in the transportation business. Having said that, I do know a little bit about business, having run companies and being on the board of a couple of companies. So I do know a little bit about that. I also ran a business magazine, more than one I ran. In fact, I actually wrote for a number, but so I have a vague idea of this subject. Now, this is contrary to what I did yesterday. Lots of people asked me about running their own campsite, and I think, oh, that's a good thing to do in retirement. Or alternatively, it's because they like camping, so they're going to want to run their own campsite. If you like camping, the last thing you want to do is to run your own campsite, because you're not going to be doing much of it. And but in this case, the idea that they would like to have their own dealership. What I'd like to do here is to look at trends in the market and what I think the future is. Now, any shop, and I'm including an RV dealership as a shop, runs on the principle that they buy something for a price and then they sell it with a margin on the price, and that margin covers their costs plus a little bit of extra for themselves for the bother of providing the service that they are giving. And the difference in the price is normally decided by, first of all, what market conditions actually are, and the margin is usually also decided on what the chances are of making a sale and what the costs of making those sales are. So for example, if you go to a clothes shop, the markup in the clothes business is enormous, because of the cost of actually making the sale. So for example, the internet lends itself to the clothes business very well, although I do appreciate that, for example, there's a major difference between a men's shop like me. I don't want to go and try and stacks of stuff on. I just rather just turn up and hope the best that it's going to fit, whereas women like to do this as a sort of a social occasion and go out amongst themselves. So I do see more of a future in women's clothing and accessories than I do in men's. On the subject I am about now to address is that motorhomes work on exactly the same principle. The motorhome is delivered at a certain cost, and the retailer sells it at a larger cost. Now, the motorhomes are running on what is, or used to be called, the recommended retail price, and so there is when I go to and I film something at a trade fair and I give you a price, that is what I would call the recommended retail price. And The thing is, what I show you in videos is normally not the real price. The reason for this is because that's the absolute minimum, and usually the minimum doesn't include things like delivery, and you probably want lots of all sorts of extras. Now, the margin on a motorhome is around an average, hello Declan, around an average of 18%. So if it's coming from the dealer, let's say at 50,000 whatever pounds, euros, dollars, whatever, which we won't get much of a vehicle for that money, and so they add on an extra 18%, so it's going to be around 60,000, and that's how it works. In fact, that would be 59,000, not 60,000, but I just said that to keep the figures nice and round. So that is where the starting price would be, and in that, if am I including value-added tax, or what you call the United States purchase tax or whatever, it doesn't make any difference as far as this is concerned. So you can say it is there or it isn't there. When I quote things in anything, which I do, which is B to C, business to consumer, it always includes purchase tax. If I'm doing videos related to B to B, it doesn't include purchase tax, which I think is the standard way of doing things. Now, with that information in mind, you can start working out how much money is made by a retailer, the dealer. So if a dealer sells 5 vehicles in a month, and they're making 20,000 on each deal, you can say 20,000 times 5, that's 100,000. Hey, that sounds like a lot of cash. Indeed it does, if it's in your back pocket. But let's now look at the other things that the retailers are having to pay for. They have to maintain a large premises, and the better the premises and the better location they are, the more it's going to cost, because of this greater footfall, and it's being seen on the roads. So that's the number one thing. They've got their staff to pay for, and they have got the other means of making money to pay for. What do I mean by that? In the car business, the auto business, the margins are really very small. Now, it depends on the type of auto, but in the things which are the fast moving vehicles, so I don't mean fast that they go fast, I mean they're sold quickly, vehicles, then the margins are much smaller. The reason is that there has been a trend since the last 25 years or so, is that the auto manufacturers make money on the servicing. So therefore, if you buy whatever it is you buy, they may only make 2 or 3% on the deal, but you have to go back and do all your servicing there, and that's where all the cash comes in as far as they're concerned. Now, as far as the motorhome retailers are concerned, what they want is for you to keep coming back to the same place and for things to actually buy from them more and more. Now, if they're operating on this margin, which I mentioned is about 18%, most of them, Dusseldorf, for example, until 2019 was the last year this actually happened, they would say, right, well, that's going to cost 70,000 euros, but we'll knock off 10%, so it's now 63, or we'll throw in this and this with your 70,000. That's how it would work. They would split the margin with you. Indeed, some manufacturers would say, right, well, the margin which we will give is 18-20%, but we expect the retailer to give some of this back to the client. Not only that, most of the manufacturers, before they take a retailer, they would expect to see that the retailer has financial capacity behind them. They'd want to see that they have a certain amount of cash, or access to a certain amount of cash, or bank guarantees for a certain amount of cash, and that certain amount of cash is likely to have 6 zeros after it. They are zeros, please note. It depends. It may be a smaller retailer, or somebody's not producing, I don't know, some VW conversions somewhere, they wouldn't be so fussy. But that is how the mainline ones would actually do it. Now, when you actually become a retailer for one of these big manufacturers, let's say Trigano, for example, you would then have a certain area which would be yours, and in that certain area you would have exclusivity on given brands. And now we get into the perfidiousness. Hello, John. And thank you. Now we get the perfidiousness of the manufacturers, because if you take, I'm just taking Trigano, but this applies to Hymer Group and Rapido Group and others as well. So it's not, I'm just picking on one company. They have brands which are effectively exactly the same. So you get a Benimar or a Roller Team, it's exactly the same inside, or the Chausson or the Challenger. You know, it's the same. It's the same. There's not much difference between a Challenger and a Roller Team anyway. So effectively, the only things they're changing is the upholstery and one or two, but the vehicle and on one of the decals on the outside, but the vehicles are more or less the same. Now, why do they do this? Because it makes no logical sense in a manufacturing capacity, and in my opinion, and because I can't see any other reason, there may be a good reason, but correct me if I'm wrong, but the only reason for doing this is so that the retailer doesn't complain. So you're selling, for argument's sake, Benimar vans, and there's some character down the end of, hello van, there's some character down the bottom of the road who is selling Roller Team, then you can't complain, even though effectively, and what they'll do is the client doesn't know this, so the client will try and knock them both down. And another thing which happens at Dusseldorf, I know this because people complain to me, and sorry, I'll come back to that. So people come back to it means that what they'll do is they'll go onto the stand of whoever, and then whoever this company, the bigger the company is, the more people it's going to have at places like Dusseldorf and Stuttgart and wherever, like 10 different dealers, and they'll go to each dealer trying to get the best possible price. And so that is actually, that I can understand why dealers wouldn't like this. They're spending time with this person, and they're in competition with the people who they theoretically should be allied to. And so this actually makes it even worse. So that is something to be considered. I'm just going to answer a couple of questions here, and so John spelt my name wrong, but don't worry, I didn't notice. And right, so Tron wants to know what manufacturers pay for a stock chassis for an example Fiat, and their cost to make the motorhome before delivery to the dealer. Right, I cannot answer the question of what the chassis actually costs. What I can tell you is that there are major discounts. Well, I mean, that stands to actually reason. If you and I here decided that we were going to go into business and produce vans, and we're going to use the Fiat Ducato as a base, and I know this, I've actually done this for somebody, and they said, well, you go to a Fiat dealer, we're not going to talk to you. So before you're going to go to even the your country Fiat, in a country wherever you are, they're going to say they want to see probably 300 pieces a year. So you think, for 300 pieces a year, right, so I'll just go to the Fiat dealer down the road. So there's no way we're going to actually get this type of business. One thing that has happened on that very subject is that it's been frequently said that Fiat has done a deal to sell vans to DPD or whoever it was, or things of this nature, which means that they're not available for the motorhome market. That may very well be the case, but I think it's just a rumor, and quite honest, I personally don't believe it, but it might be the case. They may have sold so many that somebody's come along and say, yeah, we'll take whatever, 30,000 vehicles. I mean, it would be daft not to actually say, right, you've got the cash up front, yeah, we'll take it, and you'll get the next 30,000. And so when something like Heimer comes along, say, well, sorry, you get back to the queue, and we've got to serve them first. That is normal commercial relationships. So the answer is this: I don't know, but I'm utterly certain that the price won't is considerably reduced. I have heard for some of the parts manufacturers, people also saying that when they go to Dometic, for example, and somebody, I don't know, some one of these big companies, the big ones, names I've mentioned in the past that I haven't made in this video, they say, all right, well, we'll take 5,000 fridges. They pay for it half. 50% of what some smaller manufacturer may be knocking out one vehicle a week. So that's that. Right, so I've got here a question, a really important question of the day is, what's happened to my Robeta jacket? It is in the cupboard, which is behind me over there. So I won't be getting, unless it's still hanging up here, but I think I put it in the cupboard. So that's where my Robeta jacket is at present. Coming on to the next problem, which is, I mentioned how it is with the internet. So, okay, so someone like myself I like going shopping for food, but I don't like shopping for anything else if I can avoid it. And so I buy things off the internet, which not only it tends to be easier, it's also cheaper. So I mean, I use a lot of supplements. I might even do a video on what supplements I do one day, but I use lots of supplements, and I I get them from the internet. I don't go to the chemist and buy them any longer. The thing is, now it is pretty clear that motorhomes could start going in this direction, and if they do, it's the death knell for the dealers. Now, I mentioned the fact that the dealers get something like 18% per vehicle from the manufacturer. So that is that's the margin they're playing with. Also, there's a bonus. So if you are, now let's mention the Trigano thing I mentioned earlier. Now, supposing you sell Roller Team, and then somebody starts down the road selling Benny Miser, well, just the same thing. I better get another Trigano product in. So you start selling give me a name, Euromobile or something, and then you start selling Mobile Veta. Yeah, and what happens is that because they want you to sell other products, you get the high-end products such as Mobile Veta, and you get the sort of, well, I suppose it's their mid-range or product, and maybe you sell the lower range product, sorry, the cheaper range, or whatever, economic start, or whatever you want to call it. So you get the full range. That's what they want. Now, if you continue doing that and you don't sell anybody else's products, then for that they will give you a bonus, and that bonus could well end up being more than the entirety of the margin on the other products. So so there we have the instead of 18%, well, the bonus is probably only about 3%. I mean, Heimer Group even reduced it from 3 to 2, for example. So it's a that is to keep you locked in to their products. How that's on new vehicles as well. So I mean, for example, if you've got a dealership selling the Roller Teams, and you've taken an old Swift or something, then the Trigano won't punish you for that. They won't say, no, you sold a Swift, so you're not getting your dealer bonus this year. But now let's look at what happened in 2020. There was COVID, and then suddenly there was no deliveries. Now imagine this situation: you are a dealer and you are taking in €1 million margin on your products every year, which isn't too bad, I suppose. So you've got €1 million which is coming in, but at the same time you've got €800,000 worth of costs. So you've got to pay for your staff, you've got to pay for the place you're selling them from, you've got to pay for all of this. What happened when there was COVID? When suddenly you could only get 1/3 the amount of vehicles which you'd ordered. And then, so what do you do in these circumstances? And this happened to very, very many people. Not only that, it's that they're stuck in the middle. The manufacturers, who have no contact or next to no contact with the public, are unable to actually produce, and they can't get the staff, and then all sorts of other things. You've got the dealers, and they're pleading with the manufacturers to deliver because they can't, and you've got the public who are screaming at them because they have made an order of a vehicle and they've been lied to about when it'll get delivered. I know that people lie because people complain to me and they sort of write to me and say, well, look, I bought this roller, whatever it was. I won't say roller, I'm not blaming on team. I bought this vehicle. I ordered this vehicle. This clever vans, that was number one, and it didn't turn up because they were lied to by the dealer. And that mightn't have been lied to by the dealer. The dealer's only passing on the information that the dealer got from the manufacturer. This is what creates problems. Now, personally, I would really not like to be in this position. The dealer is in a very difficult position because of laws in the European Union which say that you have to return deposits or not take them at all, depending on the circumstances, and therefore people can actually come to you. You spend all this time explaining and all the rest of it and doing all the work. That person has to be paid for as a member of staff, and then they go to somewhere else and then they buy it from somewhere else. This is a major problem. Or alternatively, they cancel the order because they were waiting 6 months or whatever, and they think 6 months is unreasonable. But those of us in this business know that 6 months is a really quick delivery time. So that is a problem. I think the public do not accept that stock is not available, and I know this from having been visited dealers all over the place. Now people coming in and say they want it now, so you can't have it now. So that's that. But to make things worse, and there are clear indications that there are manufacturers that want to start using car dealerships. Now, the car dealerships are already in good locations as a rule, or it could be outside of town, but whatever. If they start using the car dealerships, which are operating on a much smaller margin, then the main dealerships for vehicles are going to find themselves in all sorts of problems. And to make it worse, they're wanting to sort of go into internet-based sales. Now, what would happen is that you'd go to your main dealer. The dealer would spend an hour or whatever it is listening to your questions, looking at explaining how things work, this thing. Then you go home and you order it online, and so the dealer has absolutely zero benefit from this. And that to me is a major problem. Now, where does the dealer get money from? Like the car dealer, the motorhome dealer will of course get it from putting on the extra kit, the solar panels, the whatever else you have done to your vehicle, and all the work that needs doing, because let's face it, things get broken all the time and lots of work needs doing. But so that is what the dealer is effectively getting paid for, and will start earning the money. Obviously there'll be shops and things, but the shops themselves, even though I know it seems very expensive, you go into a motorhome shop and they want to sell you a beaker for 5 times what it costs on Lidl or something like that. Yeah, that's okay, that's it, but they are not set up for mass market as these some shops are. You go to a camping shop when you need specialized equipment like plates that don't break and I don't know, whatever things which are suitable for the vehicle. I think that being a motorhome dealer is not a particularly good idea in most markets. Now, I don't mean that everywhere, because I think in new markets, I think there's still a lot of possibilities, if of course they can get the stock, and that is the problem at the moment, getting stock. Whereas the market it's freeing itself up, stock's becoming in the market, stock becoming available. We could see, for example, I'm in Poland, but in the newer mark or new whatever, it's not the right word, but in Central Europe, then what used to happen is people go to Germany, they'd buy a car, and they'd import it into Poland or Ukraine or Russia or whatever, and so lots of car dealerships started up this type of business, and I think there still is. For example, there'll be stacks of people in Germany who bought vans and things of this nature during the COVID period, and they decided after a couple of years, and now you can get on the plane and go to Spain normally, you don't have to, then I think they'll do it. And yeah, so I've got a really good question here. It's from Morgan. If dealers make 18% on the base vehicle, how much profit do they make on the options? The same margin. Also, what percentage do they make on dealer fitted options? Right, good. Okay, I can't actually speak because I don't no manufacturer has given me a contract. I need to point that out very clearly, but I mean, I do talk to people, so I know. Right, the how much profit do they make? Right, first thing, let's not use the word profit. I may now be speaking as an accountant. Well, I'm not an accountant. I never studied accountancy or anything. But we in business we tend not to use the word profit. Profit is at the end of the year what it is. So we say this is margin. It's not profit. The difference between buying and selling. So if I buy something at 20 and I sell it at 30, that I haven't made 10 cents or dollars profit. I have made a margin of 10 because I had, say, 5 costs doing it, so my profit is therefore 5, assuming I do no other business for the rest of the year. So okay, so let's use the word margin, unless we're referring to actual money that ends up in the back of your pocket after everything's been paid. And so right, so on the options, the options will be, it'll be the same. If the option depends how the options are actually taken. So if you go and buy the options from the when you order the vehicle, then yes, you'd accept it would be the same for the options as for the vehicle. Mind you, it could be that if they're not factory fitted options, then the options are fitted by the retailer, the dealer. On the other hand, with this, often there's a situation where you say, oh, I'd like one of these satellite TVs, that's going to cost, I don't know, £4,000, euros, dollars, whatever, and the dealer will say, look, we can do it for that for much cheaper than that, and so that's what they do. So and they give you a cheaper one rather than the most expensive or something on it. Oh, thank you. Big Boy says thanks for being open, detailed, and clear. And oh, thank you very much. Right. I did want to actually do a business channel, but then I've got so much on. I can't do everything. So this is something I obviously do know a little bit about. Therefore, good. So I don't think in the current market anyway that being a dealer is a good idea, unless there is unless you're in somewhere like I am now in Poland, or if you're in you're in Romania or something, then I agree. But if I were in the United Kingdom, I certainly wouldn't want to do this at all. United Kingdom, of course, it's got particular problems with trade getting stuff in, and all the harassment and piles of paperwork. But even if I were in Germany or Italy, I certainly wouldn't really want to be a dealer either. Another point I think I do have to make the situation has slightly changed on this one, but I was talking to a dealer in Chemnitz or Dresden, I can't remember, somewhere over there, and who said to me the following: it's not worth taking used vehicles in because of the risk involved, that you don't know what's wrong with it. There could be an underlying problem which is wrong with the vehicle. Now, if you buy a used vehicle, which is obviously, I do encourage people to buy used vehicles, but if you go looking for a review and you take an expert with you, and that you pay the expert whatever the expert requires, then the chance you've got better chance of finding something which is wrong. I don't think that dealers are really in this position to give expert examination of things like the engine or there's all sorts of things that could go wrong with a vehicle like this, which could be hidden. I mean, obviously you do a water ingress check, and you've got these things, odom, no, what's it called? Whatever they're called, water ingress things, aquaometer or something, and you check with that, and you can see. I mean, I had a professional with me who said, yeah, you can tell that there something happened. I went, well, I'm looking really close to that, I can't see, but they know what they're doing. And so but with the for a dealership, it's a lot of risk. They don't want to take the risk, and if they're gonna buy it, I don't, it probably a used vehicle, maybe not the price up by 20-25%, but it's a big risk for them, and unless they take it on a basis whereby sale or return, so to speak. Or so if you've got a vehicle to sell, you want 30,000 for it, they'll put it up on the mark for maybe 38,000 or something, and then that's how it works. And they don't accept responsibility if anything goes wrong. But then again, theory. But then again, they know perfectly well if anything does go wrong, you're going to come round complaining. So it doesn't really make that much difference. Anyway, good. Right, so I think I've said just about all I can actually say on this subject for the moment. I will probably remember as soon as I press the button that I missed something out, and then I'll talk about it at a different time. I know lots of people complain to dealers to me. And in this place, in this video, I really have tried to justify the position of the dealers. But of course, I realize also for manufacturers, it's not easy when you've got problems like they had with COVID, and then they don't know when things are going to get built either. I mean, I've been at places and they've said this to me directly. Said, we don't know. We haven't got a clue when we're going to get deliveries and things like this. And they can't get staff. They can't get parts. And with a motorhome, it's different from a car. You've got so many parts in the motorhome itself. And if you can't get some screws for a boiler, which was the case, which is totally ridiculous, it might sound, but you understand that the manufacturer can't put that vehicle out, and then the whole bro. The only thing I would say, which I thought was incredibly dishonest, and this is from the manufacturer, was by the Purcell Group, which put out a motorhome, a camper van at 30,000 euros, which appeared at Dusseldorf in 2021, the Sunny, which was totally ridiculous. And those people who put this up on even YouTube sites and things. I mean, one site got over 1 million views with 30,000. I mean, it was clearly impossible to produce the vehicle at that price. I don't know why Purcell did it, and I don't know of anybody who actually paid. I'm not suggesting that nobody paid it, but I don't know of them, which two different meanings. That was dishonest, and there may have been some marketing trick to it or something like that. But if the mathematics doesn't make sense, then there's something wrong. And if something's too good to be true, then it probably is. So that's how I look at it as business. Okay, thanks very much for listening. You can obviously put questions down below, and I'll try and do other things. Thanks, Jeremy. You spelt my name wrong as well. And yes, I'm being very safe at the moment. I am sitting here in Wrocław, because I've got a stack of work to do, and I know I'm going off to other places before long. So I'm sitting here at this in this position from roughly about 6 in the morning until whenever my video is finished. But I do actually try to get out and do a 10-kilometer walk as well, just to keep healthy. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. But it's every day. Okay. All the best. Thanks very much for watching. Thank you. No problem, Jeremy. No problem. As our surnames are the same, that would have been worse if you'd spelt the surname wrong. So, bye for now. Thank you. Thanks, Tron. Thank you.